can I even call myself an artist anymore? That's a question I keep coming back to lately. To be an artist, you actually have to make art, right? Well, I've come to find out that it's a bit more complicated than that. Essentially, yes, art has to be made at some point, but what if you're going through a particularly bad inspiration drought? I work a full-time job that regrettably is not art-related in the slightest, and is often emotionally and physically exhausting. When I was in school, I was filling sketchbooks every other month, but now I'm lucky to complete just one artwork. I've come to a realization. I'm at my happiest when I'm creating, which is what led me to make this video. Today, I want to repair my relationship with art. Sometimes, what helps me become inspired again is looking through my old art to remind myself of what I'm capable of. I made these all the way back in 2022 and 2023, and I remember having so much fun with them. And that's my goal for this video, is to remind myself to have fun with art again. So of course, I had to paint the one and only, the legend, Sabrina Carpenter. Ever since she released Middle is Starting Over, I was hooked. And this piece was so fun to work on because it was such a full circle moment for me. In middle school, I'd fill notebook pages upon notebook pages, trying to draw her. And let's just say, none of them turned out that great. Sabrina, if you ever happen to see this video, I'm so sorry for what you just saw. But, yeah. Speaking of full circle moments, it's been so cool to see her finally get the recognition she deserves. Like, she's been so underrated for so long, and so now seeing her get to live her best life is just so fun to see. I'm still working on the sketch. I'm really struggling with those hands, but they work out in the end. Just gotta wait and see. But yeah, the anatomy was a bit of a struggle, especially finding out where that arm in the back was gonna end up, but that's why I just like to move on to colors, because that solves all the problems. But yeah, I just like to add base colors first, and I kind of probably break a few art rules by shading and adding highlights at the same time, but you know what? It'll be okay. It all works out in the end. And before I forget to mention it, I did post the finished piece on Kara. I do have an Instagram account, but I don't post on it anymore. I've made the decision to just stick to Kara for now, because Instagram's just become too busy for me. And don't tell Sam Does Arts I said this, but it's okay to be lazy with your background sometimes. I mean, look how lazy I was with mine, and it worked out. Art tip: if you're like me and you like to keep the sketch kind of in the final drawing and you want it to look more cohesive, I like to change the color. And so I think you just saw me do it. I had to I went in with curves and hue, saturation, and brightness, and just overall adjusted it to be more cohesive with the color scheme. And I actually like this blue line art I've got going on. It looks pretty cool. I do struggle a lot with the face, so just please bear with me. As I showed you before, this is an area I've struggled with when it comes to drawing Sabrina Carpenter, but I pull through. Also, liquify. The liquify tool can be your friend, but it can also be your enemy if you use it too much, so just be wary, because sometimes I've used it so much to the point that it destroys a piece. This one it worked out, but others not so much. And I'm pretty sure this is about the point where I was ready to give up on this painting. But I think as artists, it's really important to, be kind to ourselves and just have faith in our own abilities. Like, you never know what you can accomplish if you give up. And so that's why I pushed through, and you'll see at the end of the video, I think I did really well. And you can too, you know? Also, I probably should have mentioned this sooner, but the brushes I'm using are the default hard round brush and the default technical pen brush. I think I might have like adjusted them slightly, like the settings, but other than that, I'm pretty sure those are the only two brushes I used, and they work pretty well. I think, they get the job done, that's for sure. And yes, for some reason I really struggle with the teeth, so just please don't judge, okay? I try my best. Overall, this is kind of a difficult angle of the face to capture, but I think that it's important to challenge yourself every now and then, especially with, like, for example, angles of the face you're not familiar with, because that's how you grow as an artist, and I think that's really important. But also, it can be fun trying to figure out, where everything goes. I mean, it's also frustrating, but mostly fun and rewarding once it works out, Well, when it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but that's also a learning experience. Yes, and remember to flip your canvases. They help you see errors that you might not have otherwise seen. I know every artist tells you this, but I figured I'd say it too. It's very helpful. Even though it's something I struggle with, I do have so much fun painting hair. It's just, I don't know, something so majestic about it, especially Sabrina's hair, especially in this photo. And I'm in love with the lighting too, which it creates a really interesting color scheme too. Like, I noticed a lot of purples and like bluish grays. It's really fun. It was really fun to mess around with. I also have a lot of fun rendering clothes, and as you'll see later on in the time lapse, I actually end up like hand painting the little sparkles on the front of her dress, which actually was kind of fun. I usually don't have so much fun with like the tedious details. Oh, speaking of tedious details, those hands were like the bane of my existence. I almost gave up because of them, but if you push through that feeling, you'll be rewarded, like I think I was. But my patience was tested, okay? Also, my microphones. Never tried to draw one before, at least not this detailed. Ooh, why didn't anybody tell me it was actually kind of difficult? Like, I didn't expect it to be as difficult as it was. I mean, maybe the lighting had something to do with it, but I don't know. But you know what? I think it turned out okay. We're getting kind of close to the end here, so I'll just kind of try to share a bit of my final thoughts. So I think that my goal was achieved. I mean, this was definitely really fun, and I'm definitely inspired to, make more art in this new year. Hopefully I can, stick to it. I'm gonna try my hardest, but, full-time jobs and everything. But overall, I think my goal was achieved. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm excited to make more and share more with you guys. So if you're interested in following me on my art journey this upcoming year, 2025, we made it, then subscribe and stay tuned. I think there's lots of exciting stuff to come. And here's the final piece. I love doing all the glowy effects. It just looks so magical, and overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really hope this video is able to help at least one person out there who struggles with the same thing. Art can be really tough sometimes, but I think it's important to remember why we got into it in the first place. So yeah, I guess that's all I have for now, but I hope to see you in the next one.